Like, let yourself go. Like, I don't want to see a coach with like a manicured beard, man.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see some troubled shit, man. Like, I want to see a guy that's dealing with something. Like, Matt LaFleur should start doing psychedelics, actually, is my opinion. Like, and then watch like the Niners footage, have a bad trip.
Yeah.
And then really rework himself. Like, really.
Hey, you got to work through it, man.
Yeah, work with that basically 2 years. Because they can't beat the Niners.
RC Sports, it's in the game.
It is time for the NFC portion of the Alpha Beta Index as we grade all 32 NFL coaches. There's a final 16. And I got to say, we missed something in between. We talked about Russell Wilson already. He just got paid. I mean, I kind of thought he already did. I was kind of like, wait, I thought the contract already happened. I thought that's what you do when you trade for a superstar quarterback. You immediately like give him the contract to validate what you gave up for him in the sense that he's going to be there for a while. But I have to say this. I think he's lost like 1/2 a step just on his legs. I don't think his arm's ever going anywhere. Like but what makes Russell Wilson special is that extra half step that he always has on that defensive end chasing him. Always that, like, he's never like burning anybody. He's always just getting out of that one tackle, and then making the throw. And I'm like, if that's not there, even I'm not saying this year, if that's gone next year, you got like 4 years of just strictly pocket Russell Wilson. And I think he's good pocket quarterback. I don't think that's what I pay $50 million a year for, though.
Yeah, I mean, when you place him in the pocket, that's when you get to his height, because that's what happens. Is, can he see the middle of the field? Is he be able to, throw a dig route? No. And you always got to put a run game around him, and so he can hit the, throw a go route, because he's probably one of the best deep ball throwers you'll ever see.
Ever.
So,
maybe
right? Ever, right?
So
it just perfectly
it's
right into
the Steph Curry teardrop that he does from the free throw line, like that one that hangs in the air forever. That's a Russell Wilson deep ball. It's so cool.
It's beautiful. So, I mean, when it just he can get away with that. But, I mean, you got to be able to run the ball. And he does, that's the thing with him. Like, who does he want to be?
I think he can never not do that, though, that electric Russ play where the whole everybody, there's commercials with the next gen stats little yellow line following him, and then they're selling like a MasterCard, like that's Russell Wilson's brand. I mean, it's not his personality, like it's that. So I'm just wondering, I'm like, hey man, Bronco fans, I'm not if you guys made the playoffs this year, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's kind of your expectation, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. But for one, I'm not predicting it, and two, how did 5 years for these guys? I'd do like 3 years, $60 million a piece for 3 years for a lot of these guys, and that's even what I would do with Lamar, especially guys where I'm just like, God, I really need your legs to be top tier for me to pay you your money. Like I would do 3 years, but like more than what they want, and just see who takes that.
Like kind of hedge the offer a little bit.
Yeah, just where it's like I can get out after 2. I can get out after 2, and it's a rough third year on my cap, but that's okay. Like we get if it's that bad and I want out, you can do that. But it's just I don't know.
I do think the Broncos fans. I think that they seem a little bit delusional these days.
Not Broncos fans.
I know. Yeah.
You're talking about the Denver Broncos fans being delusional? Oh,
I got a family member that's a fan. I was texting today about it. He's like, about to get 3 more rings, dude. And he's like a pretty serious dude. I'm like, nah. I sent him the Ron Burgundy, I don't believe you gift, dude. Nope.
Dude. Nicer than what I would have sent him.
Yeah.
It's just, it's kind of one of those that's all they have kind of thing. Like no one cares about the Colorado Rockies. I mean, they don't, they're kind of one of those. The state of Colorado is really cool. I think that's there's plenty of stuff to do. It's not like they're in the middle of nowhere, but it's kind of like sports wise, Colorado Buffaloes. Come on, was it the early 90s?
The Nuggets, right?
Yeah, the Nugget. I mean, the Nuggets. They try to pretend they do. I follow those accounts. Like they try to pretend. That like David Cisneros will try to pretend that he, is the Nugget. Oh man, Nuggets! I'm gonna become a Nuggets insider here, and it lasts for about a week, And then the Broncos are what they have. John Elway runs Denver still. I mean, he just had to step aside. They would never fire him. He was like, he's like, guys, I get it. I'll see myself out. You know, like he is kind of. They're like, John, don't be. Come on, don't be like that, John. You know.
Yeah.
And they let him out. Like South Park, like even South Park, you just constant Bronco references all day.
Yep.
Like let's go, Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's all they have. So next time, all right, just next time you want to go hard on your Broncos fan friends, that's all they have.
Yeah, so it really is.
Just be careful. Just be careful. Before we start, one more thing people need to know about Marcus. That one thing I've never really thought about this for a while until he told me. You're a big time height snob in quarterbacks.
Oh yeah. Huge height snob.
What's your threshold? Where it doesn't matter, to where the height in your head does not matter. What is the height?
6'2".
6'2". Even 6'1", huh? 6'1", you have questions.
6'1", you can get away with it a little bit. That's two a range. You could kind of see the middle of the field, but you won't be able to
tiny,
see
man.
Exactly. I don't know, man. It just doesn't work. It hasn't worked.
You weren't a Doug Flutie fan back then?
But that's so much like and also like what was Doug Flutie? Like really?
Yeah, dude,
what pantheon is he in? It's College Football Hall of Fame and that's it.
Yeah.
Everyone just remembers his punting. They were like, oh man, what a punt that was. And then the Boston College crop top jersey in the 80s, big time throw over against Miami. Like what was, and then you have Russell Wilson and Drew Brees, and those really are the only two good short quarterbacks, Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Trying to find a unicorn.
And Drew Brees found a way to be accurate on his tippy toes. So that's what I'm talking about. Like he's a freak because he obviously worked on that. I don't know how you do that.
And don't O-line coaches have to like kind of do certain things with blocking schemes to open up literally vision lanes? Like is an O-line coach you're like, oh, so I have to account for vision lanes now, like for my quarterback?
Yeah.
Like sight lines. I'm not talking about running back vision, like creating holes. Like no. Like I hopefully he sees this tight end over the middle.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to get called for holding, but he has to see this tight end.
Exactly.
Crazy.
And then you have Cliff Kingsbury who doesn't care and just says, Kyler, you're awesome, even though you're 5'10". I'm not gonna open lanes for you. You're just gonna have to get it done. And then
5'10", by the way. We'll get to Kyler because I know you have strong takes too. So do I. You've turned me on Kyler. I was like, it's fun. When you look at it, it's like that's cool. But yeah, anyways, all right, let's get started. Let's do this.
Interesting one off the bat. Washington Commanders, Ron Rivera. Yep.
He's been sliding.
I guess I'll stick with Alpha, man. He has some. I think he has a good control of that team, and he does kind of have a good leadership a little bit over there. I mean, he still got Jack Del Rio. He didn't fire Jack Del Rio. Just shook his finger at him a little bit, and then dissed him in media. But then it was like, all right, I probably agree with you, Joe, and Jack, and then went to the background. So you can kind of tell that he has that. He kind of gravitates with those guys, and he gets those guys to play. I mean, he went 7-9 with what they go 8-9 or something last year with Tyler Heineke. So
did they? Was it that? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Like 7.
For some reason, I thought that. Yeah, maybe. Okay, I thought they lost way more games than that, but you could be right.
I forget the 17 game thing, man. I was 7-9 in my head. I don't know. He just, from being in the Panthers, I think he's super alpha for what he did with the Panthers back in the day, and that kind of the mystique, what is that, Riverboat Ron and all that stuff. He built up there. So I'm kind of, it's hard for me to get away from that. But I don't know how well he's handling being over there in Washington. It's a bad decision.
Mm-hmm. And he is working under Dan Snyder. He is working under people where you're kind of like, man, it just looks like a classic Washington team, no matter what you do.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the Commanders in general?
Oh, the team! Last year they kind of burned me because they were kind of my team, the ascending. Like they watched, like, hey man, watch out. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna crown another team that this year, and it's the kiss of death if I do that for like an NFC team. I'm pretty good with like the AFC. Like, nah, they're not ready yet. But like these NFC teams that I watch more as like a fan, just a fan of the game, not as like a litmus test for the Raiders, and stuff. Like these NFC teams, like I suck at it. Don't listen to me, so don't bet on that stuff. But last year I was like, nah, man. Fitz has got, you're going to get like 6 games of Fitz magic greatness, 2 losses after that. Then you switch to Heineke. He gives you like 4 games. They're going to like manufacture a quarterback playoff run. And I thought their defense wasn't going to be so damn soft, but they were horrible last year because they have 4 first-round picks on the defensive line. And they're all good players. I mean, Chase Young needs to step it up this year, but
Yeah.
That's kind of the other thing. It's like, man, these like whenever I see defensive minded head coaches and like you have Chase Young, who nobody had any doubts about ever, like, and he had a great rookie season too. It's not like he sucks, but he just was like really bad last year. Like kind of, I don't know if I know he got injured, but he just didn't look himself. Jonathan Allen's great, but other than that, like, you're just like, man, when the defense isn't good, I'm like, what's going on here? But I'll go Beta. He finally slid. He was kind of one of those like, I think last year, because I'm looking at my notes from last year and I had like Alpha with an asterisk by him, so I think that meant like, hey, one more false move and you go down. So you know, that is what it is. I don't like their chances this year at all in that division. It's like, in that division's winnable too, but I just don't see it. I don't see a pathway.
I mean, they got Carson Wentz, man. Carson Wentz is just,
he stinks.
I have no idea. He keeps getting a job.
And a bunch of short wide receivers, because there's a stat for Carson Wentz. I forget what it is, but it's like a single digit amount of touchdown passes to wide receivers that are under like 6'2" or 6'3".
Wow.
And McLaurin's not big.
Mm-mm.
What's his name? De'Ami Brown, not big.
Not big.
I mean, Logan Thomas will eat, but like, you know, but I think it's actually wide receivers is the stat. And then I don't even remember who's the other. Curtis Samuel's not big.
Yeah.
And then they have the other guy. They drafted somebody. Dotson's not big. None of those guys are big. I'm like, so what's gonna happen here? You know, like Pittman. He had Pittman last year, and Pittman kind of snapped a little bit. Like he went off.
Yeah.
And he's a bigger guy. And so I don't know that team. I think it's gonna be a disaster this year. I have nothing against them. I'm not one of those like guys that just hates that team either. Like, I have nothing against them, but yeah.
I'm not a Carson Wentz fan. I think Carson Wentz is awful.
He's really bad. Really bad. Watch the Raider game from last year. Awful. Literally missed a wide open guy. Like just a guy just streaking down the field. Nobody in frame on the broadcast tape. Like nobody in frame, and the guy is just over his head. Like it was like throwing it away.
Talk about a beta player, man.
Yeah, yeah, he's cosplaying too. That's he doesn't even know. He's not like Alex Smith is not an alpha, but he knows that. Therefore, he was just a very good quarterback for a lot of his career. Yeah, he was just kind of like, nope. Where's my tight end? Where's my check down? Where's my tight end? But all day and cut you to death for a touchdown. And then, but Carson Wentz is like, nah, man, I'm raw, dude. Like, watch out. You know?
That's the worst.
Check down.
Yeah.
Running back throw.
Once you get to the NFL, that shouldn't be allowed. You know, like that doesn't work at that level.
It's straight up Uncle Rico. Like,
I know.
Like, just letting it rip, man. Yeah. So, anyways, next team up.
Cowboys, Mike McCarthy.
Mr. Beta over here. He's with Jerry Jones. You know, had to use PFF to get a job. You know,
don't forget about that.
Yeah, he used to visit the PFF offices. He started going to PFF in Cleveland.
So PFF is Pro Football Focus. Pro Football Focus is Pro Football Focus is basically scripture, right? Like they're kind of like script as far as to the analytics community. It's like they're very. I'm a PFF listener. I'm a listener of a lot of their shows. I think some of their people are great. Their data is mind numbing sometimes. Where you're just like, they'll just be like, hey, that guy everybody likes, he graded at a 47.4. Therefore, yeah, we have him low. And like, you know, they do that, and they're like, they only put their data against their data. And Burke Handy listeners might know another company that does that too. You know. So yeah, but anyway, I won't go on. It's just as harmful too. But for what they do, you know, my joke about PFF is like it's literally just when you say it, like, you know, because you look at some of the takes, and you're just like, come on, man. Like
it's like a comic book bubble.
Some of their guys, some of their guys have nuance where they're like, yeah, he graded at this in our system, but I did see a few things, blah blah blah, blah, and that's okay with me. There already is a Pro Football Reference site, but PFF should be Pro Football Reference. It should just be this analytical algorithm kind of grading scale that you could compare against your eyes. But they kind of are like, no, your eyes don't work. Ours.
Wait, is this Nate Silver for football? Basically,
it's very Nate Silver. It's very 100%. Nate Silver. They got like 6 guys that look like him there too.
Yeah.
So basically, I mean, PFF used to be like against the narrative. So like when like Tom Brady. But 2014, I think, like Sam Monson came out and said Tom Brady's not a top 5 quarterback anymore because he wasn't playing well. And they used to have like 7 guys graded. But now they got like 500 like 19-year-old kids doing it. So you got some 19-year-old kid grading linemen.
Like Guantanamo Bay level grading too. Like when you get down to the nitty gritty, like these guys are like they'll spend like times just looking at like where guys line up, not even grading them. It's like he had this many snaps at here, and you're like, I had a guy from like Weber State football program, and you're just watching that. And there, no, like I said, I like Steve Palazzolo, big time fan, love him because he's like, he actually realizes like that watching the game is important and like making inference and knowing scheme and actually knowing that you don't know anything about scheme. So like he kind of him and Mike Renner, I actually think are really good, but a few of the other ones are just like so up their own ass. I don't want to name
the analytics guys are bad over there.
I was gonna, I have a love hate with the gambling. Like I love the gambling strategy is great, but they'll just be like, just the actual football takes within that. You'll just be like, come on, like and so that's that they're just one of those. People love to either hate them or it's like a love hate thing with PFF, but I am like in the middle. Like I am kind of like, I get it. I like the concept of it. It's owned by Chris Collinsworth, by the way, too. He founded it. So that's also like crazy that he did that too, like an old football player.
He didn't found it.
He bought it, right? Didn't he buy it or something? Yeah, he was like that's right. Yeah, he didn't, because I was like, that wouldn't make sense that like an 80s wide receiver would start like analytics. None of those guys like that shit. So that was so anyways, what were we talking about? Mike McCarthy. So he spent a summer with PFF when he was unemployed after the Packers, and all PFF, their podcast, I was listening. They'd be like, Mike McCarthy, man, he is so changed. Like he is so good. They were like, seriously, Mike McCarthy PR all day. And then apparently Jerry Jones listens or something, like, because I'm like, I don't understand. He got a job with the Cowboys off of that, like of all teams, but then they hired him, and now we have the underwhelming Mike McCarthy era of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and then he's got Kellen Moore over there who thinks he's like a mad scientist and thinks he's like the Bill Belichick of offensive coordinators, and doesn't run a scheme. So he's just like he runs West Coast one week, and then he'll change the Air Coryell the next week, and so the Cowboys are all confused by week 13. It's hilarious to watch, actually. So it's all it's all messed up. And then because technically Jerry Jones is the coach. I don't care what nobody says, because he can't fire Kellen Moore. They can, like Mike McCarthy can't fire Kellen Moore without asking Jerry. Jerry's gonna be like, no, he's my coach next. So can I fire you first? So I mean, that's basically how it works over there. I mean, Jerry's the coach. He's the alpha man. He makes the decisions. But they're still trying to give Zeke 25 carries a game, because the game goes through Zeke. It's all Jerry. Jerry runs the show over there.
Zeke, and same guy.
And if you take the job, you're a beta, in my opinion.
I mean, it's basically like working for Al Davis, essentially, but a little more glitzy and like a little more in the limelight. It was the same concept. I mean, he ran the show. You're there. Therefore, any coach that takes a Cowboys coach under Jerry Jones, I mean, can post Jimmy Johnson.
Well, look how that went, right? They had to. Yeah, they break up because
they had Parcells, and Parcells is an alpha too. So I shouldn't say that. There has to be a time where it starts. If you took a job for the Cowboys after there, but they broke out. Of course, I mean that was always like that. But Jimmy Johnson's actually like the biggest alpha like ever too. I love him. Literally still has a trade chart that PFF tries to shit on, but it still works and is good. By the way, Jimmy Johnson invented a trade machine, and he made orchestrated probably the greatest trade of all time. In NFL history, Herschel Walker for 1 million picks that he used on like 4 Hall of Famers.
Right?
I think I'm not even joking. I think it was like 4. I think it was. Yeah, it was. So I love Jimmy Johnson, but nonetheless, if you take a job for the Cowboys right now under the Jerry Jones, Stephen A. Smith first take rivalry era, you're a beta, because that's all. You're just basically a sacrificial lamb.
100%
for like ESPN first take, essentially. You have no power.
Nope.
You're like Joe Biden. No, I'm trying, but just like you pop out, you're just on TV, you're just getting ripped apart. Like that's what you do. Big Mark McCarthy, fat face on TV, and they're just shredding him on there. Stephen A. Smith in a cowboy hat.
They make me sick. I love to hate on them.
Yep. Yeah, you join the Cowboys, man. You're super beta, bro.
Beta. It just not even. I mean, done with him. Yeah, Beta. I hope he gets fired. I don't even want him on the thing next year because I just don't even want to think about Mike McCarthy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Next up,
we got the Nick Sirianni of the Eagles.
Ooh, I'm gonna go alpha with Nick Sirianni, man. Just make it the playoffs with the team, and then get this team all built around him, and then he's hilarious at press conferences. He just comes up with these weird ways to motivate them. He did something last year. I don't even remember, but they were losing a lot, and he did that, and they started winning.
Mm-hmm.
So and we were all laughing at him, but football is such a kid sport sometimes, man. That's why.
Yeah.
They do stupid shit to motivate them. Still, they still they still show highlights of other teams and stuff like that. You're talking shit through like a press conference. Football coach is going to put that. They're going to put that on right in front of the whole team, and they still do that stupid stuff. So he's that type of guy. I think just kind of to make the playoffs with that Eagles team last year. I don't think they were really good last year, and then they're way better this year. I mean, they still got Jalen Hurts, but he made Jalen Hurts look like a halfway decent quarterback. So, and then it's funny. He left the Colts, and then the Colts offense is not the same.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. It's a really good point. And I remember knocking that last year. Kind of, we were critical of him last year. We were kind of because he bombed his introductory press conference, and now he's great. Yeah. He's great at it now. Like I think he just he saved his really like niche material for his opener press conference, and everyone's like, "Yo, man, I don't know what's going on here," And then now they're like, "Okay." He's funny now. Like he's charismatic. He's funny. And I feel like he's one of those guys. Like when you look at him, he looks like he was like rejected from the Shanahan coaching tree. Like he's not like he was like applied. He tried to look that way. He's like, hey guys, I'm part of the team. They're like, nah, man, get out of here. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of going out on a limb here, and I feel like the Eagles are getting too much hype. But at the same time, you look at that roster. It's really good. It's just Jalen Hurts. Is Jalen Hurts the guy? Because there's not. They don't even have holes on that roster. It's insane.
See, Jalen Hurts, he's good.
He's good enough. I think he's good enough. Like, I'm not a huge fan, but he's good enough. Yeah, like there's certain things where like there were throws in that Tampa playoff game where he made the right read. I just didn't he just didn't get it there. Like there was the one where interception where he threw in the end zone before the half. I don't know if you've seen that one where he has forget who's like it's like Quez Watkins or somebody like that in the corner of the end zone, and it's like a good quarterback just zips that thing in there, and it's like it's probably caught, but it was picked off.
Yeah, he can't see the field well, which comes back to my
how tall is he? How tall is he?
6'1". He's 6'1".
Oh, 6'1". So just under. Yeah, damn.
just right there. Damn. He's got to get out the pocket to see.
He's like platform cleats or something. Yeah, just that's how I would do it. Just be like, hey man, how about I make my cleats taller? But yeah, I like him, man. I like Sirianni. I think their division's wide open. I don't think the Cowboys are gonna be good at all this year. I'm really down on the Cowboys. So? No, I don't. I watched a little Jalen Tolbert preseason. I was like, that's number 2 right now, huh? Like, and they don't have Gallup for a while. Their first 2 games are like the worst scheduled. I think they have the Buccaneers opening, and I forget who they play week 2, but they play. It's another.
The Bengals.
The Bengals. So we kind of said maybe expect some regression from the Bengals, but still, I think they're going to be right in the mix, of everything. Those are tough games, and if they get off to a slow start, I don't know. But I don't think but the Eagles are the odds-on favorite. I actually put a future bet on them, literally right before AJ Brown. I didn't even have AJ Brown, so I got their odds pre AJ Brown. It was at plus 280 or something. It was pretty good. And I think now it's down to or they're almost even. I think now to win the East, and I put that down, and it was I think Sirianni's a good play caller too. Like it looks cool. The offense looks good. I don't know. I'm not grinding the tape like you, but it just when I watched him, I was like, man, this looks good.
Yeah, it does, man. He cooks. He cooks pretty well, and he makes it easy for Jalen Hurts. That's what I would say. I think he's built his system around Jalen and makes it easy for him so he doesn't look terrible so he looks serviceable. Because I think if he tried to, make him play like Phillip Rivers, it wouldn't be the same thing. So he did a good job adjusting to the scheme, adjusting his scheme to him.
I'll take it, man. Alpha. We'll see how well. Like I said, they can easily be hosting a playoff game this year. Wouldn't surprise me.
Nope.
So next up.
Yeah, we got the Giants. Brian DeBall.
Dable. Yeah, it's a weird
Dable.
name. Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard
First year.
Yeah, first year. Okay,
First
that's what I thought.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a big alpha guy. We were predict he's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
alpha. I do say watch out for the Giants. If I did have a sleeper NFC East team, me and Glenn are basically Daniel Jones truthers.
DJ.
So
How tall is he? How tall is he?
I think he's a good 6'4", 6'4",
Oh, yeah.
220.
Howard.
Yeah, so
He's everything.
he's tired.
Blindside sometimes, you can't see your blind side, right?
He got better at that last year, though. I really did like. It's weird because watching him play, he looks a lot better than his stats say, right? So it's like he was playing with Jason Garrett, man. It's terrible. I don't know what Joe Judge came in and gave him the worst offense you can give him, and now he's going to be with somebody that's going to play to his strengths, and he's a smart quarterback that is going to go through his reads, and he's going to get rid of the ball quick. He's getting better as he goes along, but I think we'll see some good stats. They got Kadarius Toney over there. They got who's a beast. That dude's nasty on tape.
Wandale looks kind of fun too. Wandale Robinson.
Yeah. And then
Kenny
they got
Galladay. Yeah, damn.
I mean, he can catch a couple jump balls, couple jump balls, right? Couple jump balls. Don't take him in fantasy this year. Don't get yourself burned.
No.
I think the ball's going to cook over there, and I think just how you work with Josh Allen, getting Josh Allen to buy in, building a system around Josh Allen, and then he, I was hearing about how he adjusted the way he taught to the team around how Josh learns. So that's just dope. Most coaches wouldn't do that. They were stubborn, and I'm going to do it my way. But he took the time I'm going to get the most out of Josh, and he did, and then got himself a job. And I think he's going to get the most out of Daniel Jones. So
yeah,
and
totally. I agree with everything you said. Let's look at Daniel Jones and what he's walking into right now. Daniel Jones, high draft pick, higher than most people thought, but he had a big time draft process hype. Like he really shot up after the Senior Bowl. I remember he really shot up out of Duke, right? The Duke quarterback. Who the hell is this guy? And I remember at first I was laughing. I was like, the Giants are dumb for this one, and it wasn't good early. But I remember watching him last year. They were a good early cover team gambling, and I was like, I just fucking trust this guy. They covered against Tampa one time on Monday Night Football. Like they lost, but he kept him in it. I'm like, and he also got him out of it a little bit, but I don't know. It looks good coming out of his hand. He can move. Everyone shows the video of him tripping, but people don't realize that was the fastest clocked quarterback speed that year. Like just that on that break, faster than Lamar. I mean, he's not faster than Lamar, but on that one particular run, it was the fastest clock. He was hitting like 20 something miles. It was like 26 or something. It was crazy. Like school zone speeding ticket shit. Like he was going off. And Brian Daboll, people now have such goldfish memories. They forgot Josh Allen used to suck, like legit suck in the NFL. Like his rookie year, people were like, "Damn, this guy is not good." Like he has a cannon, but he just can't hit the broadside of a barn. Does too many reckless things when he's running. It looked weird. Brian Daboll, like you said, tailored everything to him. Taught him, really developed him. And Daniel Jones, I think right now, he's going to have a good year. And I actually think their team now, hopefully the Patrick Graham loss hurts them because I want him to help us. Like, hopefully hopefully their defense falls off a cliff, right? Because that means I know what happened, right? But I think they're always a really physical team. They just draft extremely physical players. Their offensive line's finally looks respectable again. I think Evan Neal will be pretty good right away, and Andrew Thomas looks like he's really good now, which is nice to see. And maybe Saquon Barkley decides to join the party. I don't know. Maybe that'd be a real shame if he decided to be good at football again. But Brian Daboll, I'm a huge fan. I think this was the guy I was scared the Chargers were going to hire last year.
Yeah,
straight up. And I mean, look, Herbert's developing just fine, but I was scared of that. I mean, like I said, you hired a defensive guy when your quarterback is your franchise. Truly, stupid. I think it's a mistake. I just think it's a mistake. So, and if the Chargers miss the playoffs again, and Daniel Jones looks really good this year, and even if the Giants, sneak Eagles kind of take a dive, week 18 win against the Eagle or whenever they play each other late. And something like that happens, you're gonna know Brian Daboll, alpha.
Yeah, also, he runs the Patriot system, which I really like. It's a really difficult system to run, and you have to have a good quarterback. I mean, not every quarterback can run it, to be honest, and that's why you don't see it a lot in the NFL. You see it more West Coast because West Coast is like, a pick a side, half field reads, stuff like that. And this one is like you pick the matchup, so that's why you see like Josh Allen. He just throws the digs 800 times because he goes to the line and he picks the matchup. There's no really like 1, 2, 3 on this type of stuff. So that's why I really like this offense. I mean, that's why I like it coming to the Raiders, and thank God it didn't go to Justin Herbert because he's damn smart, and he probably would have just been tearing stuff up tearing mad shit up if Brian Daboll was there. So shout out Brandon Staley for making bringing Joe Lombardi here. I appreciate that shit.
I'm telling you, man, like that is just like, I mean, it's going to be funny when the Chargers keep him again. And it's like, you have the same offensive coordinator for 3 years, which means he stinks because somebody would have hired him. Right. Like as a head coach, like, so, anywho, let's move on. We're out of this division, right?
Yeah. NFC South, we got Todd Bowles, the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as defense coordinator, I would go alpha, but as a head coach, I'm going beta. Ooh. As a head coach. Yeah. We've seen this before. He kind of didn't handle I think the offense situation well. We see Tom Brady already deciding he wants to go get plastic surgery whenever he wants to. He's kind of reckless right now. He got a full face face surgery and went to Dr. Miami real quick. And it's just not looking good for how this team is looking. I mean, Tom looks disengaged. He looks like he doesn't even want to be there. To be honest, I don't know. Why did you come back, bro? You just had to. I'm playing till I'm 45. You made that promise to yourself. I bet he was just sitting at home in March, I'm so close to just playing to 45. I should just come back and just get it done, right? And because he looks miserable. I've never seen him look this mad. He's cussing in press conferences. He's angry that he's has to come here for camp and talk to people. I mean, you could have just stayed home, bro. You already won 7 Super Bowls. Stay home. You know what I mean? So but that team's a little. So that's what I'm saying. That team's a little out of control, in my opinion. I don't think your starting quarterback just leaves for 11 days. It doesn't tell you why. I mean, it's like I don't know how. Is he the coach? So yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm with you. I'm gonna go beta. The Jets. People try to say the Jets thing wasn't him, which I agree. I agree that I think it was Mike Tannenbaum was there, and he's not great. I won't. The players that were there is definitely not on him, but it's just I don't know. I thought it was very uninspiring. I don't know why. It must be some. I haven't watched Byron Leftwich on the Pivot Pod yet, but I don't know how close was Byron Leftwich to being the coach. But although Bruce Arians, I listened to him on Pardon My Take, who I miss dearly, Bruce Arians already. I just miss him having him in the league. But he coached Todd Bowles at Temple, which I didn't know. So that could be and he's still technically with the organization, Bruce Arians. He's kind of in an advisory role. So maybe that's how that job actually happened. Nepotism is very real in football. Yeah. But I'm kind of with Todd Bowles. First off, did Tom Brady get the plastic surgery to try to look happier?
I don't know.
I don't think he constantly gets plastic surgery. I think he looks genuinely good now and has aged really well. But now he's I look like I'm mad. Can we fix this? It feels weird. I think he didn't want Bruce Arians to retire. I think that was kind of an issue. I think they had some conversations and was well, if you're gone, I'm gone. I don't want to do this. But then also Tom is just a sociopath. So I think he's it was 2 weeks of just taking his kids to school, and he was I gotta play football again. He's I gotta get the fuck out of here, man. So he then starts playing again, and I miss Bruce Arians so much, man. You want to talk about taking over for the alpha of all alphas? It just makes he was on Pardon My Take, and he tore his Achilles last year. He said, and he said they asked him if he wanted to get surgery, and he just grabbed his golf clubs and started swinging them, and he swung them successfully, and he goes, "Nah, I'm good. All I need to do is golf." Just a beast, absolute beast. He hated on veganism, by the way. Psi, he had a heart attack and switched plant based, but quote unquote only lost 3 pounds on it. So he
He's
He
eating
did the
Yeah. I mean, Bruce Arians.
I like this all, dude. I'm not. Yeah, I like the
Bruce,
arc of what I'm hearing.
Bruce Arians is not just. I mean, that guy being
Yeah.
vegan is so funny. Like to me,
it
just
is,
even, like,
that is hilarious.
yeah, he looks like he would eat a live animal. Like it looks like he would eat like a still sentient live animal. And just him with like a tote bag, like an eco tote bag, shopping at like a co-op. Oh my god, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
But no, I miss him. I miss him greatly.
Discount.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is Coach Tom Brady, and Tom Brady is probably not a good coach, by the way. Like just those guys, as we said earlier, or at least I said, maybe if your quarterback's too good, they're not going to make a good head coach. Like they have to be like kind of mid in the NFL at most, you know, or just a career backup who spent time with the coach. Because some of these guys, man, I don't know. I don't think they're winning the division this year, and I actually think this division is a lot better than anybody's giving it credit for right now. And it's gonna be a hot take I have to own, but
okay, all right.
Anyways, let's move on.
Arthur Smith of the Falcons.
I never really thought about this one.
Yeah, he's tough.
Right there.
He's tough.
You know, I guess I'm gonna go Alpha, just because I have a feeling that I think he's gonna do better than people think. I think he's gonna actually do pretty well with Marcus Mariota. I mean, Marcus Mariota's been in the system before. I think that he has a way of doing things, and I think they actually overperformed last year. I don't think they were actually that good as they performed, and. Because I mean, I'm on the fence. I mean, I really haven't really thought about him at all. I mean, you don't even hear my press conferences. He has no bits. He doesn't get interviewed.
Right.
Like who is Arthur Smith? You don't even know what he looks like. So I don't know. It's interesting with him. I liked how he picked Desmond Ridder, and I don't know. I'm up in the air with him. It's kind of weird. I really never even thought about him as a coach, to be honest. I don't know how you feel about that, Glenn.
I'm still a fan. Last year wasn't great, but also like their roster was horrible. Like just absolutely barren of talent. I mean, you have like Russell Gage as your number one, after Calvin Ridley gets popped for gambling, you don't really have much on offense. Offensive line, not great. Running backs are, I guess, Mike Davis, right? Or was that
Cordell Patterson?
Yeah, actually, to be fair, yeah, he was great. But defense, they had nothing. But I love their draft class this year. I think they're definitely getting to Arnold Ebiketie. I think they're getting what they need to get back on track. I love the way they've staggered quarterback right now, because I actually think Ridder could be the guy for them, like eventually. I think it's if you like Marcus Mariota and you want to find take another crack at Marcus Mariota with a clean injury record, you can draft Desmond Ridder, which is really good idea. And get him for cheap and kind of if Mariota is going to be in the injury tent on and off all year. We're seeing Desmond Ridder early. I watched him in the Raiders when he played 4 plays a game for the Raiders, and he was just oh, my fucking shoulder, man, on the sidelines. It was it's Oregon Duck moment, big time. It's very anyways. I like Arthur Smith. He saved Ryan Tannehill's career, and I'm a Tannehill apologizer for life, because I always liked him coming out. So I had to live through the Miami hating from the friends and my little group chats. I'm like, nah, man, he's better than this. I know it. And he is. And Ryan Tannehill's still very good. Much of that was Arthur Smith getting him. I mean, he was dead in the NFL when the Titans picked it. He was backing up Marcus Mariota.
I know.
Crazy to think about that. And then, he's also the heir to the FedEx throne. Really? So, his dad or grandfather founded FedEx, Federal Express, and he chose to coach football instead of that.
I like that.
That's alpha.
That's alpha.
I mean, to me, that is alpha. It's crazy. To be dude, you could just be Kendall Roy if you wanted to.
I know.
You could just be a Roman Roy, whichever one you
cocaine.
Want.
You could just be doing cocaine all day.
Any of them. You could be fucking Tom if you want. Shit, he's not even the son, but you could just be Tom if you want. You could do whatever. You could do whatever Greg, whatever you want, man. But you decided, no, I want to do this stressful job, and the money aspect isn't even going to impress me. You know, like the
Exactly.
part where you're like, damn, I've been grinding and eating, you know, cottage cheese for 6 years and now I get an NFL check. Cool. He doesn't get that. So I actually respect that big time. Like it's like Batman almost, very like, you know, like Batman style story arc, which I respect. So I'm going on a limb. That's why I think this division's good. Like you look at the bottom of it and it's like you could make a case for the teams that are predicted at the bottom to like actually be kind of good. So that's all I'm saying. So
the NFC's so wide open, man. It's so wide open.
Yeah.
I do want to make a point about Ritter. Is actually, you know, Ritter. He made me die laughing at the combine because he said he models his game after Ryan Tannehill. You know, everybody else is like Aaron Rodgers.
I knew I liked him. I knew
and all that stuff. And he's like, I model my game at
I respect that. I respect knowing like, I'm not Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, just I'm not like. You know, I'm Stephen Curry. You know what I mean? I'm on my game after Steph Curry. It's like, well, can you do that? You know, like, no, you can't. So Brian Tannehill's much more achievable ceiling. And you could be better too. Like, I mean, like there's a scenario where like you're like, whoa, wow, he's way better. Like, what a funny comment that was. But you know, if not, you're just like, you know, like, and if he's even like just below Tannehill, like I think that's still a nice bridge to get you to what you need next year, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I lean alpha with Arthur Smith. Again, I don't know much about his funny things that he said, but I just know that FedEx thing has always stuck with me. So that's cool.
Yeah,
so,
I'm a huge Ritter fan, so you know, I think that.
I remember you were the one. You were like kind of like we were talking. Where you were like Ritter, and I started watching. Like I remember I watched him in the title game or in the playoff, and I was like, he's still got something. Like, and he's getting his ass kicked, but like it looked like he's still got a little something. Like he still looks like he belongs out there, you know. And that's always like nice to me. Like, do you belong in the NFL? Like when I watch you, like when your first year, like does this look like this is gonna work? And I can see he's balled out this preseason. Like he's played really well, and so okay.
He just made me want to play football at the combine when he was talking. So that's why I was like, oh my god, you got intangibles. So that's what it is.
I like it, man. If the Falcons rattle off like a double-digit win season, we're gonna have. I'm clipping this one, dude. This would be a good one. At least nobody will expect that. Nobody's expecting the Falcons to win. No. Yeah. Okay. Next up.
All right, we got a favorite of the pod of this segment, Matt Rule of the Panthers.
Oh my god, Mr. Beta, King Beta over there,
Patton Oswalt, like as your head coach.
I mean, like, I don't even know how he won at Baylor at this point. Like, what did he do at Baylor?
Betaler.
Yeah. It wasn't Ayler. Yeah.
Like, man, like he took over some good Panthers teams, man. Those Panthers teams were not bad.
I know. It's sad.
Those were not bad Panthers teams. I mean, even with Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, the Broncos they were 7-6. They're in the playoff spot with Teddy Bridgewater, right? And I feel like he had better receivers. He had DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. I feel like their line was a little better, and they had Christian McCaffrey. You know, even though he did get hurt, but you know, I think Teddy. They still couldn't find a way to win, and they're talking about like they don't do like red zone stuff, and like what do you do at practice, man? Who are you? Are you just like out there and just happy you're collecting a check? Like, they drafted really well too, man. Like they got like Jeremy Chin, they got Brian Burns, they got that one dude from
JC Horn.
JC Horn
coming back this year. Yeah, CJ. They even stole CJ Henderson, who I think could still be something on a different team. Yeah. There's pieces, man.
You know, and then I'm not a big Baker Mayfield fan. I know Glenn's higher on Baker Mayfield than I am. Of course, it's I have my things with the short quarterbacks. He is short, so there's always this limitation. I'm telling you, it's just a limitation. I mean, because he's kind of like Russell Wilson a little bit. I want to say he's like Russell Wilson, but I think outside the pocket, man, you get him outside the pocket, man, he's super deadly. He can do that, but it's more about him staying in the pocket. And he doesn't like to find passing lanes either. He doesn't think he's short. That's the thing with me. If you are a short quarterback, that's why I like Bryce Young. Know you're short, bro. Know you're short, and he thinks he's 6'3", so it doesn't work for me. But we'll see how that goes. But Matt Rule, they're not winning anyways because Matt Rule's a coach. Maybe next year with Baker and a new coach, we'll see.
Yeah, so I'm. This is kind of one of my them and the Giants in the NFC. These are kind of my little sleepers. Like I don't know what I expect from the Panthers totally, but I could see People forget last year they started like 5-0 or something. Like
Yeah.
that's something nobody remembers. And they went on this crazy run. Like Brian Burns is just killing everybody. That's another one that hurts me every time I watch it.
Yeah.
Derek Brown hasn't been very good, but I still think he'll develop into like a fine, okay nose tackle. I was never big on him. And then they have players. I thought they drafted Ikwanu. That was a very nice pick. I know he's struggling in the preseason, but that's okay. Like there's guys there, and I like Baker. The problem is Matt Rule with this situation. I don't like him. It's terrible. I mean, again, the picture of him spitting all over himself at Baylor, all over his own vest like a toddler.
Yeah.
Just trying to like show you. Yeah, that picture is you can't bounce back from that. Like you just can't bounce back from that. I know. I'm being a little. We've all done it. I'm just saying, like, it just sucks when you're trying to like run after the referee and yell at him and having it happen like that. You just can't do that on like a Fox, 3 p.m. kickoff game. And but no, I back to your Baker point. I do like Baker. I think last year. I think he gets. I think everybody has to at least agree with this. Anyone who's rationally minded. Last year, people are like saying that's him. What that was, but he was playing with a torn labrum, like in his left side. But that comes in to if you throw anything, any motion that you make, any real motion, you're gonna feel that in there. And I think if you just get a healthy Baker Mayfield, that's like twice Sam Darnold. Truly, like it's just like even like I don't even have to say Baker's gonna win the title with him or anything. I know that's. He was just sitting on the market, and I was like, why doesn't like Seattle or them just try it for a year and just see? Worst thing he's going to do is just leave after the year. It's not that big of a deal. You didn't draft him number one. You're not married to the Baker Mayfield. So like Seattle or him, I was kind of like, why can't you guys or Carolina? And he finally went to Carolina, and I started liking their roster a lot more. I like DJ Moore. I like what's the other? I like McCaffrey if you ever can play football, but like I like him. And I like their drafting the road grader right tackle with McCaffrey. And I think they can do if they decide to actually get creative, which I'm not sure Matt Rule can, but like if they decide to get creative, there's a lot of explosive players. I even like my boy Tommy Trimble. Everybody was sleeping on my boy Tommy Trimble out of Notre Dame last year with Ian Thomas. It's a good tight end. Like those are good players. Like if you actually if you're into Taylor Mouton, there's a lot of guys on this team that can play ball, man. And I'm maybe this year isn't the year. But I think they're going to give some teams hell. Like people are going to think that Carolina Week 5 game, like against the Niners, they're going to play Carolina. I bet you that's going to be a close game. Like it's like people are going to. I like this division, man. But Matt Rule, he's got to go. They got to find their next coach ASAP. Hopefully he's on the staff. Hopefully he's like a coordinator on the. Hopefully it's they got Joe Brady. I should go fight Matt Rule in my opinion because I thought he was next up, man.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was next up, and I think he was a sacrificial lamb.
Oh, 100%
for Matt Rule. So yeah, Beta,
big time.
Moving on.
All right, Dennis Allen of the Saints.
Oh, old school.
He's beta to proven otherwise. So this was easy for me. It's he's Mr. Beta when he was out here in Oakland. So yeah. I mean, I think it's, I'm sure he's a good defense coordinator. They even put together some decent defensive game plans when they're with over here. I mean, when they're Derek Carr's first year and they went to the Patriots and kept them to 16 points. I mean, they put together some decent game plans. So he's a good defensive coach. He is. It's proven. He went over to New Orleans. He transformed that defense. That defense was terrible for years. He went over there. He transformed it to one of the best defenses in football. So obviously, he's a great defensive mind. It's just, are you a head coach? See, and that's the thing with it sometimes. Like, are you?
Todd Bowles is kind of the same way. I feel like him and Todd Bowles are very similar.
Because then when you're a head coach, you got to coach everything. So you can't just be focusing on defense. I don't know if he's still gonna be the defensive play caller. His defense is gonna change a little bit. He's not gonna be the same. So I don't know. I don't know about Dennis Allen. I know he kind of got his way back into a job of having such a great defense, but he still looks like the same guy. I don't see him being like super fiery or anything like that. It's just like he's
Oh, he was terrible. He was terrible here. The sad part is I think this is the best Saints roster since their 2009. Like if you're going 1 through 50 through 53, you know what I mean? Since their Super Bowl like era run, this is their best roster, man. This is really fucking good. Like they're head to toe, man. I think if Sean Payton was coaching this team, like I don't see a team in the NFC that's like better than them, in my opinion. Like, and I'm not saying this as a Jameis Winston stan, but he was winning ball games with them last year, and they didn't have wide receivers on that team. Like, they didn't have any of them. I'm not a huge Chris Olave fan, but he's playing well, so I can't, he's playing well in the preseason. It looks like it'll work in a little way. Marquez Callaway got all the hype last year and it didn't do anything, so people forget about that. But Michael Thomas is back. We'll see what that actually means. I've stashed him in one of my fantasy leagues, so just so I don't miss out on it. But I don't have the highest hopes. They have a good offensive line. They lost Teron Armstead and they replaced it with Trevor Penning. It doesn't look like it's going well right away, but their defense is unbelievable, and Dennis Allen built it. He did. The Saints were like a joke. Like, they were still really good, but it was like, they'll score just 40 and you'll score 35. That was kind of their defense. So like, whoever touched the ball last wins. And I think that it's, are you a head coach? Because look at what's just happened recently. Todd Bowles, Jets, not great. And we both don't think it's going to be great with the Buccaneers. Robert Saleh, how's that going? Not great so far. Vic Fangio, all these other guys. Like, are you a head coach? Like, is this first off, like, and if Brandon Staley misses the playoffs, I mean, you're looking at all these defensive-minded head coaches, and it kind of goes to the philosophy that I used to roll my eyes at, because I was kind of like, just get the best guy. But when you hire an offensive-minded head coach, you have one constant, and you will never have to replace your offensive coordinator if he's good. When you hire a defensive head coach, you always run the risk of losing your entire offensive mind to another team's head coaching opportunity, right? And it seems much easier to cycle through defensive coordinators than it does offensive coordinators. It just does. It seems more because you have a quarterback that is just no other position like it. And I think the Saints are going to win the division. I have a hot take on that. I think they're going to win. I think they're winning the division because Dennis Allen owns Tom Brady. That's one thing that they have. Owns him. And who was when the Raiders only scored 16 points?
That's true.
At home. Who is Dennis Allen? I mean, he's like Tom Brady. I've never heard of him. Tom Brady, who's a scrub, 6th rounder out of Michigan. Yeah, I heard of him. Punk. That's what he says.
I know. Yeah. That's so true.
Give me Drew Henson at quarterback, then I'll be there. It's so crazy. He cannot do it. So I think they're gonna win. He was so lame. He was like this at Oakland. He was like this Friday Night Lights, like kind of like mopey coach with like a checkered past looking guy. Like, it's like he's actually having an affair with the cheerleader, and like, he don't want nobody to know. And he's like 47. He's a visor guy. I respect it. I'm wearing a visor right now, but I respect it. McDaniels. I respect the visor guys. Peterson, all those guys. They usually grade well. Not right now. Beta, Dennis Allen,
for sure. Mr. Beta.
Next up.
NFC North, Bears, Matt Eberflus.
Yeah,
this division is something too. We're gonna have a lot of projection here. Yeah,
there's a lot of Matt Eberflus. Matt
what were we just saying? What were we just saying about defensive coaches? What were
defensive coaches? Defensive coaches. Oh man. This one. I'm gonna go beta first for Matt Eberflus until he can show me, some stuff. I think they play good defense over there, but you're right. Is he a head coach? You don't know these defensive guys are head coaches, because one thing about defensive guys is they hate quarterbacks.
Yeah,
you can't tell me any different. You could tell like Vic Fangio hated quarterbacks because one, I'll tell you guys, like at a practice, quarterbacks don't do anything really. They got the same red jersey the kicker has. Yep. Same, the kicker and the punter and the quarterback all have the same red jersey, so you can just tell how like a defensive coach thinks about, you don't tackle, you don't do any of these things. You know what I'm saying? So so it's just like a defensive minded head coach always has that in the back of his mind. Like he's not going to be really coddled with the quarterback. He's like, I'm not going to coddle this linebacker. Why would I coddle you? You're a football player. So that's kind of the thing with some defensive coaches, but I'm sticking with Beta because I don't know where he's going to go. They ran, a lot of cover 2 over there. It's not, it's got a little bit of a soft coverage to me. So I'm going to go Beta just for that.
Yeah. Even his good defenses, they weren't like alpha defenses, if that makes sense. Like, it was kind of like, hey, like, if you throw it in 3 yards, we'll tackle you, like, it was just real like not pin your ears back. We're coming at you. We're, but again, that could just be how I said everything the Colts does looks weird. Like, so I don't know if that's the case. But yeah, I remember when they hired him, I was like, I kind of like flirted with the idea, like, oh, that'd be cool to bring him to the Raiders because I do love a good defense more than anything. Like actually watching like a good defense like of my team, which I've never actually seen. So, but that's why I want it so bad. But like 2002 they were good, I guess. But like it was. Even then, not really the star of the show, but I've never actually seen that in my lifetime. But I like the idea. I kind of like the hire. Daboll wasn't gonna go there. It's just like that team is kind of gutted. Not that the Giants are much better, but also I'm going beta with Eberflus. I don't have much to say. Do you think people are scared to coach Justin Fields? Like, because there's not scared to coach him, but like it doesn't look very good. And I liked him a lot coming out. Like I was all in. But do you think some people are like, yo, I don't know if like offensive guys, like I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure. Like, do you think that?
I mean, Justin Fields, I didn't like his tape at all last year. I thought he did not play well.
It was really bad.
I mean, because that Bears team, I mean, they went 8-8 with Mr. Trubisky the year before. So he didn't go to a bad team. You can't say that. I mean, they traded up from 20 to go get him. He went to a good team that if he was a halfway decent player, they could have went to the playoffs. They still played good defense over there. Robert Quinn had 18 sacks. He had some good defense. Jalen Johnson, Eddie Jackson, all these guys. Right? Yeah. And he cost Allen Robinson about $5 million because all I saw last year was just Allen Robinson with his hand up, wide open, and Justin Fields, who is 6'3", so he doesn't have an excuse. He's 6'3". Nope. Yep. He can't. He just I don't know what he was looking at. I still can't figure it out. And he was a slow processor at Ohio State, so he's got the quickest process up. And everybody's tripping about his third preseason game throwing against 2s and 3s, but. Let's see how the game plans have to happen when he has like set protections and actually play quarterback, and he just can't, throw to Garrett Wilson and whoever else was playing with Ohio State at the time. Yeah.
So, and not everything's going to have and not have pass options in all your plays, rather than actually you're dropping back your passing. This is like the it seems like that's the issue. And I'm like, I love CJ Stroud right now, but I'm like these Ohio State guys just doesn't look. They look so different when they get to the NFL. Like the Ohio State quarterback. And I love Stroud, but I'm like, is this going to be that too? I mean, I loved Fields this time last year. Yeah.
Ohio State quarterbacks scare the hell out of me watching Fields.
It's Penn State. Remember the Penn State running backs back in the day? I mean, even still, to be honest. But like remember the Penn State running backs where it was like Curtis Enos, like all those guys, like nobody was touching those guys. Like it was like Kenjana Carter, like all those guys, like they were huge, high drafted picks. But it was just like something about the school, man. You don't want to do it. It's lazy scouting, but like, hey man, we got a track record here. Like, I think with quarterbacks there is a thing, and I just wonder, like, did they? Obviously, you trade up for Justin Fields. They traded up to get him. The Chargers, Herbert fell to them. I think it's a little different. Like Justin Fields, they went up. They're like, no, we're gonna go get him. I find it hard to believe they didn't try to go hire an offensive minded head coach. This offseason.
They hired him last.
But it is the Bears, too, and they are defense is like kind of their identity. They could have just done some dumb Bears shit where they think they'll always become the 85 Bears again. Oh, yeah. Like how defensive guys do.
Bears.
But and maybe that's it. Those are the two options I think there. It could have been both. They're a very old school team, like very old, own like the McCaskey, kind of family. So I'm just wondering, because I watched Fields last year and it was really bad, and I was in his corner. I was like, man, I still want him to be good. I have no reason to not want him to be, but man, didn't look good. But Eberflus, beta because of what we said earlier.
I would say I would probably give him alpha if he got Marcus Brady away from Frank Reich, because Marcus Brady is a CFL quarterback. He won like 3 Grey Cups, and he could probably design an offense for Justin Fields that would work to his skill set, because that's how Marcus Brady played, right? I mean, he puts all the RPOs in for Carson Wentz, and they ran a lot of the CFL stuff that he runs over in Indy. So, I mean, you go get Justin Fields. I mean, I don't know what you got to give Frank Reich to get Marcus Brady over there, but that's what I would have did. But because I wanted the Raiders to kind of look at him and see what they could do something if they could.
Interesting.
And the last thing I say, because I would have been happy if the Raiders traded up for Fields and replaced Carr last year. I'd be like, you know what?
I would have done it. I'd have done it. Yeah.
And we've been so upset right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
We'd be so mad.
Oh man, oh god.
That's what I was thinking the whole time I was
Like,
watching this tape. I was like, man, I would have traded up for him, and I would just ruin all the Raiders for like 5 years. But he
I
still might
would
be
have,
good.
yeah. No, I can't write him off completely, but it
know.
was just not like really the silver linings like weren't really there. That was the scary part of that rookie year where you just see there maybe a couple times where you saw something, but most of the time, nope. Yeah. So, all right, next up.
Yeah, this is Glenn's project team, the Lions, Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
Ooh,
not a
yeah,
surprise.
yeah.
They're not a surprise team anymore because everyone's on it, but I've been team Restore the Roar for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I trust the process like Sixers style was how I was doing it though. Like this year, I think they're going to make some noise though.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they got a chance to win that division, which sounds crazy right now, but I think they're going to be there. I think Dan Campbell is a really good coach. I think they got some great coaches over there. He definitely has a great personality to him, and you can tell he's just a football guy. He's just this ultimate alpha football. I don't care if I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying to be super analytical over here. We're going to be grit. You know what I'm saying? Like he said in Hard Knocks, we're a gritty team. We're not, you know what I'm saying? And I like that. I like that because, the opposite of Brandon Staley. I mean, that's why, I'm not really high on the Chargers because the Chargers at the end of the day, they're a finesse football team. And I think you can come punch them in the mouth and they won't be ready for it because they're too busy dancing and feeling themselves. So like the Lions are the total opposite, man. They're going to come punch you in the mouth. And you have to respond, and if you have the better talent and you respond well, yeah. But we saw last year. I mean, they were punching a lot of teams in the mouth and taking them to the wire, and it still end up losing because they were just bad. But they were punching people in the mouth last year, man. And then they're better now, and they're gonna be punching you in the mouth again. And I think the real guy that people are sleeping on, I think is Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Jared Goff is a lot better than people think.
He didn't play bad last year. I'll say it right now. It was for what you expected for Jared Goff going to the Lions. It wasn't as bad as you think.
Yeah, and then St. Brown is getting better. On St. Brown, he's taking another step. I think him and Goff have a connection. And then they got Williams, and when he gets healthy, they'll give somebody for Goff to throw deep to, like Brandon Cooks. So I like Goff. That's why I kind of am high on him. I'm not saying he's like a top 10, top 5 guy or anything like that, but you could definitely win with him for sure. I mean, he played a Super Bowl, so I mean, you put a good offense around him, some good players around him, he can get it done.
Totally. No, and and Campbell, dude, Dan Campbell is just you love it. I mean, you love to see it. You love to see a guy that invested. And when you say like he's an offensive minded or defensive minded head coach, he's just a team coach. That's what he is. That's what's crazy. He's the one guy on this list where it's like you really can't. Yes, he played tight end in the NFL. So if you want to say he's offensive minded, but I wouldn't say he's offensive minded because tight end, the type of tight end Dan Campbell played was defense.
Yeah,
like it was just basically you have those tight ends where it's like, no, that's a D lineman. Like like that Lee Smith.
What team did he play for?
Cowboys,
Saints, Cowboys, and Dolphins for a little bit. Yeah, so I think somebody else, but yeah, it was definitely Cowboys was his big years.
He was calling the plays at the end of the year last year, right? He was calling the plays.
Yeah, he's a Sean Payton disciple. Like he said in Hard Knocks, Sean Payton was like in his ear. He was like, "You're my guy," like for next up, and he listens. You can tell he listens. He's like grateful. He's like one of those guys that the true alpha can cast a big shadow like in a room, but still like listen and absorb information to become better.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
And that's who I think like when I think you've reached alpha, the apex of alpha. Whereas when that makes the most sense to me when you still are a sponge at all times, just always. And I think they're going to be good this year because for the same reason as last year, there were teams that were going in there and like thinking they would run over the Lions and they couldn't. And they've added nothing but talent this year. I think Aiden Hutchinson is a star, like truly. Yeah. Like he's like that guy's good. You could already see it. He's just whooping. They have a good offensive line. All you have to do is watch our line. They have maybe a top 5 offensive line in the league, I would say right now. Yeah, like at least roster wise.
Sewell, Ragnow, Taylor Decker, bro. They're
nasty. Like it's out of this world. And he's kind of beating up on them a little bit. Like that could be good. You get maybe Jeffrey Okudah to wake up and become just a league average quarterback. He's coming off an injury, so you don't know. They have guys, man. They have some guys there, and their defense I think is still going to struggle a little bit, but even then they got some second year players that I really liked in the draft last year on that D line. Willie McNeil, like there's guys I like there. I'm in. I just want them to be good. I do think one thing about the Lions. Last thing I'll say about the Lions, they got to change the uniforms. I don't like the uniform. It's losing. Get the stink off of them. And I say this as a Raider fan. I might sound a little facetious, but the Raiders can't change the uniforms. We know this. That's out of the question. Like we're stuck with those. I want them forever. The Lions ones, I don't like that. That blue looks like losing blue. Like when you look at it, I don't know if that's a chicken or the egg. Is it just because it's the Lions? But like it's losing blue. Like you look at it, you're like that's a loss. When you look at the like the uniform get up. Another kind of like fake indoor stadium. Like this, how does the Saints indoor stadium look so cool with their uniforms and everything? But a lot of these other indoor teams, like Colts and all that, it just looks fake in Arena League, and that's what that looks like. They got to change their whole aesthetic to match Dan Campbell because that lion thing ain't working. So, all right.
How did they even come up with those colors for a lion?
That's what I'm saying. Dude, no, that's not majestic at all. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like it's not. It doesn't make sense. The whole thing. They didn't explain that in the 20-minute history of Detroit and Hard Knocks. Like,
I forgot they're owned by the Fords. It's the Ford sign. They're the Ford sign, bro.
That's true. Damn it. Yeah.
They're literally the Ford sign.
All right. I've always been a Chevy guy, so it makes me, Ford man, Chevy man. But anyways, I think Dan Campbell resounding alpha here. Next up.
Where are we? Hang on.
Packers.
Yeah, it's Matt LaFleur, Packers.
Beta. I'm going beta.
Whoa, really?
I'm going beta. I think that I don't know. I feel like that I think Aaron Rodgers is a little reckless over there. I think he just kind of just does whatever he wants. And I don't know if that's, to me, in my opinion, like I feel like he respects Matt LaFleur, but I think he respects him because he could walk all over him a little bit and he can do whatever he wants. And so he kind of likes that. He doesn't like that kind of, somebody kind of questioning his authority a little bit. And I don't think Matt LaFleur is going to get his way. Like, if Aaron, and because the difference between Bruce Arians, right, and Matt LaFleur, Bruce Arians is going to tell Tom Brady, like, you missed a read. Like, I don't care what you say. I don't care who you are. You missed a read. Like, Matt LaFleur is like, Aaron, he's wide open. But, Aaron, I trust you. You're Aaron Rodgers. You're the man. We can't win a playoff game because you're too safe. But I'm not going to push you to throw the ball downfield when we need you to because you're Aaron Rodgers. And I think that's the type of thing that he has to get in Rodgers' head a little bit, which I think somebody has to tell him that, that sometimes it's okay, man. You could test a window because I'm ready for Raiders fans, man, trying to say that Derek Carr missed Devontae Adams. I got to load it up. I got Aaron Rodgers missing Devontae Adams when he could have threw it.
Supercut compilation.
I got compilations.
Wait, what are you saying? Hang on.
Because
Raiders Twitter doesn't like Derek Carr a lot. Like there's a resounding like there's a sector of Raiders Twitter that is Derek Carr missed X wide receiver
for sure.
Screenshot from broadcast footage Twitter. Like where Darren Waller, who's like the fourth read on the thing, is like this, like in the end zone after the ball's already out of Carr's hand and the defense noticed it's not going there.
But you're saying that Aaron Rodgers is missing Devontae Adams a bunch too.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. No, I know what. Yeah, the Raiders Twitter thinks, dude. It's like
it's brutal, dude.
We need a vaccine for that, dude.
It's insane, man. Hopefully it's here. Hopefully it arrived.
But yeah, because Aaron kind of just does what he wants, because if he doesn't want to throw the ball to Devontae, and he feels like Devontae open, but he feels like it might mess up his interception stats, he's not going to throw it. So, and that's why I'm ready for that. But I just think a little bit, they keep getting to the same spot. They're 13-3, 13-4. They keep getting to the same spot and they're not getting over the top. And I think it's because LaFleur, does he have control over this team? I mean, they brought back Randall Cobb last year. Come on, Matt. You don't want to put Randall Cobb out there. You drafted Amari Rodgers. Like, don't you went sat down with Brian. I really forgot his name. With the GM, you sat down with him and you drafted Amari Rodgers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he's like, no, go give me old Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb. Fine. And then Sammy Watkins this year. They're going to be a team that rolls out Sammy, who I loved. I still loved. I make apologies for. I don't think he's as bad. He was an awesome receiver coming out, but like Sammy Watkins in year 9 probably right now, like he's that they're okay. I still have LaFleur as an alpha though. I love his I love the offense. I know it's just, you say it's just Shanahan, right? I mean, sure. It looks I just love it. I love the way they run the ball. It looks really cool. Like it's fun. I think one criticism I have of Matt LaFleur is he needs to let himself go a little bit. I mean, physically, like look like a Packers head coach.
Yeah,
Packers head coach can't be in shape.
Yeah.
You gotta have just a barrel, and not get like morbidly obese. I just mean like get like just a little barrel down that like John Gruden style, like where you're just kind of like husky. Like let yourself go. Like I don't want to see a coach with like a manicured beard, man.
Yeah.
Like I want to see some troubled shit, man. Like I want to see a guy that's dealing with something. Like Matt LaFleur should start doing psychedelics. Actually, is my opinion. Like and then watch like the Niners footage. Have a bad trip.
Yeah,
and then really rework himself. Like really.
Hey, you got to work through it, man.
Yeah, work. You got face the fears because they can't beat the Niners. The Tampa thing is on Mike Pettin. Mike Pettin lost the game against Tampa, in my opinion, personally.
Yeah.
I think that was NFC Championship, where they for whatever reason there was a one-on-one with Mike with Scotty Miller getting behind the defense with 2 seconds to go in this half. Inexplicable how that happened. But nonetheless, it's always been the Niners. Aaron Rodgers' childhood team. The coach of the Niners, Kyle Shanahan, is Matt LaFleur's, kind of guy who put him on, essentially. So you have all of that stuff is clearly there's some esoteric element of that rivalry that it seems to be between a hammer and a nail. Because it's always, it's just the Niners killed him. Sean McVay got over his, right? He couldn't beat the Niners, and he finally did.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is it needs to be this year, and then it needs to be this year. But I just like him, man. I like him. I love Rodgers. I enjoyed the Packers. I've really had fun watching. I think their defense is going to be top 5 in the league this year. It's going to be so good. I think. I actually wouldn't mind to see Aaron Rodgers just be in the run the ball play action like Jimmy G quarterback. Like I'd actually like to see him look like that. He might actually should take more chances like you said. If he takes more chances like Jimmy G, he'll probably play better because he'll just make the throw so beautiful that it won't matter. Like it's just I don't know. I'm in. I know you've watched Rodgers closely than I am, but we're so pro Rodgers, man. Like on the show,
I'm pro. I'm super pro Rodgers, and 2020 was crazy. But I will say one thing why I kind of think Devontae left. I think Devontae saw the future of his arm a little bit last year. He's Aaron is just. Aaron doesn't care about mechanics. I'm gonna throw the perfect pass. I'm fading this way. I'm just gonna
second baseman throw.
Second base doesn't matter, right? Yeah. Last year, it's starting to matter. He's got to have his feet set.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm foolishly buying in. I'm doing it again. Then they're gonna lose to the fucking Niners.
Oh, he's gonna get it done. It's Aaron Rodgers, bro. You can't fool him. He's not Tom Brady. And I know he's trying to be with his esoteric. I just want somebody to ask him about Mercury retrograde. I want somebody to talk about
Do you think his? I mean,
I wonder who would ever ask him, Aaron. I wonder who would ever, if you were ever to come on a certain show. I wonder what show would ask you these questions that need to be answered.
Because that's what I would ask him if I was to be retrograde. So Mercury retrograde is September 9th. How are you going to deal with these energies for your team?
We have at least one.
No, I'd be like, hey, hey, Aaron. Hey, Aaron. I'm Glenn Rockney from Rare Candy. I'm an Aries Moon, Libra Rising. Just something like that. Like that's how you gotta start off. You gotta get it because he fell in love with Barstool the other day. Well, with Caleb Presley, who just does their Sunday conversation, which is really funny. But he's just on every podcast he's been on since he's been doing this podcast. He's been shouting out that one random guy from Barstool, just randomly. So I'm like, man, Aaron Rodgers, we could help you. I'm gonna say that much. We could help you. We could help you get that one little last thing that you need to get out of there. We're a self-help culture and lifestyle podcast, so
exactly.
It's totally fine. So
I'm not saying it's Aaron Rodgers, but we know we have at least one NFL esoteric guy listening to it. There's one. Dude.
Cole Beasley, but he
got a lot of Cole, it could be Cole.
Yeah, he's got. He's not even on a roster right now. He's binging the back catalog. Anywho. Next up.
Yeah, we got the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell. So
I'm going better because he brought back Kirk Cousins, man. Come on, dude. You can't. What else do you got to see? And I don't like Kirk Cousins just because he gets compared to Carr so much. I really would have a problem with him if he didn't. But I just think this is the worst comparison. The dude has Justin Jefferson, and he can't win. Case Keenum was 12-4 with that. I mean, come on, bro. Like he had the same. He had Stephon Diggs. Case Keenum looked like he looked like he was a starting quarterback. Got a contract. You got a the Broncos said we're not even gonna draft anybody. John Elway was like, we're going with Case Keenum this year. That's
crazy.
And Kirk Cousins goes there, and everybody thought that was an upgrade. The Vikings gave him all types of money, and he just doesn't get it done with a good team. And that's my thing. And I feel like you have to go in there and be a true alpha, because I think Mike Zimmer was too alpha for Kirk Cousins, and so they had to get rid of him. Because his Kellen Mond press conference is hilarious. That's
yeah.
I see him every day. I crack. Mike Zimmer cracks me up.
Sundays are not fun. Sunday, they say Sunday's fun day. It is it's not at all.
But
he's great. He's one of the best.
I'm just so interested, like at their meetings. What their meetings are like. Him and Kirk, and him telling Kirk that he's terrible. But Kirk Cousins isn't terrible. It's just that, like, what I said on my quarterback podcast when I was breaking him down, I said he's an elite backup quarterback. And when you put elite backup quarterback as a starter, that's what it's going to look like. And but I just think you got to move on from him. And like even the GM who was like super soft about it, like, well, we wanted to move on from him, but we knew we weren't going to win with him. But like, what else are we going to do? Like, have some balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So a couple. This is a fascinating franchise. I think there's so many layers to this franchise. I think, for one, start with the Vikings as a whole. The Vikings, I'm kind of a Vikings apologist, where like people talk about them like they're the Lions, and they're not. They're usually like okay for the most part, and sometimes good. Yeah, they don't get it done. That's different. And my Oakland A's are like that too. People always think the A's lose 100 games a year. I mean, they're getting that's happening this year. But most of the time they're in the fucking playoffs, losing in the first round every time. Yeah. But people are just like, oh, they lose all their play. Yeah, but we constantly have good players, just like the Vikings do. And what's really funny about this situation is they hired Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah as their GM, and he's like the PFF guy.
Yeah.
It's another Mike McDaniel situation. We have to hope this doesn't work, because we're just going to be getting. He's like the Cleveland tried this once already. By the way, people forget they hired Paul. What's his name? The Moneyball guy. The Moneyball guy. Yeah, Paul Podesta or something like that.
Sashi Brown or something.
Yeah. Well, then they had that guy. Podesta guy who was on the Billy Bean's actual thing was advising. It was like part of the scouting and advising thing. It was all analytics based. It was horrible. Like they used to call him like Sushi Brown on these podcasts, like just sushi. Like just no one cared about his name anymore. Like when they first hire a guy with a name they can't pronounce, everybody really tries really hard to say it correctly. And then once you suck, they're just like, I don't give a fuck your fucking name. You know what I mean? And Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah now is getting the very good pronunciation treatments, but he's already kind of lost a trade, in my opinion. The Jameson Williams trade, they didn't get shit for that. Like it was like not good. It was just a second, and the Vikings moved from like the back of the draft, they moved back to like the Rams pick essentially, and it was just not good. And then with Kevin O'Connell, I'm going to say alpha because I'm just going to write out the Sean McVay thing. I'm going to be cheap about it. I think we're on the Sean McVay, like everything works from my thing now. I think Sean McVay's kind of Andy Reid 2.0. I think he's Gruden in his personality, but I think his coaching tree is way sicker than Gruden's already, in my opinion. Like it's going to be, but sure.
I mean, because you could say Gruden's tree is to Shanahan's.
Yeah, true. No, there's in a way, but also his dad is his tree. I mean, they have a little family tree. It's I don't know if I can put Gruden. I think Shanahan is the Shanahan.
So you want to know who Gruden's tree is? Joe Lombardi.
Yeah, things like that. So I think McVay. I think he's gonna be good. Now, was it Scott Turner? Was the Vikings offensive coordinator recently, or who was it?
Gary Kubiak's son.
Right. Well, I knew it was some like fail son guy, like where you're like, nah, dude, your dad was raw, but nah, like they don't always work. That's what people don't realize. They don't always work. Clint Kubiak, right, or something. Yeah. I knew it was something like that, but that was a run first offense, very antiquated. I think when you see what it's very lazy. Everybody has this take right now, but Kupp was basically schemed open all last year, and I'm pretty sure with Jefferson. I mean, Jefferson's so good. Like, I think you're just gonna get like 1.5 times Justin Jefferson's season last year. Like you're just going to get like an even more crazy year out of him. And I think they're going to fucking score points on offense. Like I think Cousins is good enough to still have.
Yeah.
I mean, they were up there in points last year. Like Cousins, fantasy quarterback, great. He puts up numbers. Yeah, I don't know about I don't think their defense is very good. Like I still yet it's not there. So we'll see about that. But man, I'm telling you, they're going to put up some numbers. We just have to hope it fails, guys, because that guy's. I think he was a Stanford guy. Quasi Mensa's like a Stanford like analytics guy. Not in on that. We don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just Cousins. He just doesn't test. He pisses me off. Like he has a like press conference where he was he I don't know if you heard about this, but he like threw a he actually like let a comeback, right? And he like threw like a tight window throw, and he was complaining about the tight window throw he threw, talking about he shouldn't have threw that. He's not gonna do that next time. I'm like, bro, you won the game. It won you the game. What are you talking about?
My favorite Cousins video, I think it's Cousins, is everybody used to like make Cousins became like a meme to make fun of for a while, like, because his primetime, he's always on primetime games playing awful football, so you always become like a meme. And he did a gender reveal party, which I don't know how we rate those, but and nonetheless, he had that for one of his kids, and he threw. It was like throwing a ball at like a backboard and the thing would explode. He like almost missed the entire thing. So it's like as a court, he like hit the bottom corner and like almost didn't break. Like it he almost like chipped the gender reveal ball, and it was pretty rough, man. Like it was pretty rough. But anyways,
is this a regulation ball? Is this
Dr. James Andrews said I shouldn't even be doing this. Yeah. But anyways, I have his out, so we're split on that one. So we'll see. We'll see. I think the Vikings could. They're another team. If they're at the top of this division, it wouldn't even surprise me. This division's crazy. Like it's just filled with surprises that could happen. All right, next division.
NFC West. Kyle Shanahan, 49ers.
I'll go alpha with Kyle. I think making the move to bring Jimmy back was pretty alpha in my opinion.
It's crazy.
It's just like
it's crazy right now.
He's like because I really think they were gonna move. They were gonna let Jimmy go probably if Trey actually looked good throughout the offseason process. But he was just like, you know what? I really didn't want this guy. I still don't believe he wanted him. Because he was getting interviewed the other day.
But I said this last year on this show. I was like, they didn't want Trey. He didn't want it. I was like, they don't want Trey Lance. I mean, John Lynch wants Trey Lance. That's it.
John Lynch wants Trey Lance, right?
Yeah.
And he probably convinced Kyle somehow, some way, because he did run his offense in college, kind of like a little bit of elements of the West Coast in college. But so they're probably like, oh, it would be easier transition. But he wanted Mac, because he even mentioned that in some interviews. Like, who's the other guy you were gonna get? He's like, Mac. So okay, you wanted Mac Jones.
Yeah, he totally did. He totally wanted Mac Jones. It fit Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, all these guys that he coached in the past. Mac Jones fits right in that.
Yeah, Matt Schaub. Yeah,
Matt Schaub. Like Kyle Shanahan, he had RG3, but that was because like his dad probably wanted him. It was just like he wasn't the head coach of that team. Mm-hmm. He had RG3, and it definitely put up numbers the first year. But for the most part, dude, these guys want Kyle Shanahan. These guys want. I think Shanahan's an alpha too. I think John Lynch is kind of a beta. He can draft. He finds talent really well, but it's like, dude, why did you trade up all that? I just don't. They could have taken Mac Jones at the spot. I don't think Mac Jones even is going to be like a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but he might have been on the Niners, honestly. Like truly, like I think like in a couple like in a 3-year span, he could win one with the Niners because it just those guys work there. Mm-hmm. Like those guys just work. You want quarterback coaches are fascist, and they want quarterbacks to make the trains run on time, not the trains to run really exotic tracks. Some of these like ooh, look at this train track. Like this is so cool. It goes everywhere, all up the mountain. No, they want the guy who they think their offense is scripture. So they're like, can you just take the direct path of my offense? And Trey Lance probably doesn't do that.
No, especially Shanahan. Shanahan, that's what I was talking about. We're talking about Gruden, and Shanahan not taking Tom Brady. And I talked about this on my quarterback show too. It's like it's not that they picked the quarterback that was there. They picked their offense over Tom Brady because they would have to teach Tom Brady their offense. And then Tom Brady would be like, no, I want to do some old stuff I do with Patriots. And then Shanahan would have to put his ego down and be like, okay, I'll do this with you. He'd be like, no, Tom, you need to learn my stuff. And if you don't learn my stuff, you can't play here. And then and that's not gonna work. So it would have been alpha versus alpha, butting heads. So he wants the guys that run his offense. He's the play caller. He feels like he's the quarterback himself. So he calls the play. He sets it up. You run it. If you run it well, we're gonna win. If you don't, then hey, I'm gonna find somebody else to run it. Basically, so
Totally. No, I completely agree. He is an alpha. I mean, he's a fucking really good coach, man. Like their roster's really good. They're a well-oiled machine. That might have been one of their biggest missteps, in my opinion. I might eat my word. I mean, the fact is Trey Lance also, like, Jimmy G sucks. So even if Trey Lance sucks, maybe they're still good. That's the thing. Like that's the problem. Like with if people like myself who don't like the Niners, and you're like, I want to see him fail, but you're like, Jimmy G was good there. They can't even give Jimmy G away, but they still want him. It's really weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, you can't have him. Nobody wants him. Kind of, they're in that weird thing. But, I don't think he ever wanted him. And I do think it's super alpha to keep your mid to not good quarterback and just be like, nope, I don't want, I told you I didn't want him, and I told you he sucks, but Trey might be okay, and they might still make a lot of noise. I think their defense is still really good. They got Charvarius Ward along with that defensive line, which that has just horses, like just 8 deep with just horses, and they're good. Fred Warner, I mean, they're really good. So I think they're gonna be right back in it. They're gonna be them against the Rams again this year for this division. Like, it's gonna be wild.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I will say with Trey Lance, I think it's, I have this thing where I would never draft a redshirt sophomore quarterback.
Redshirt sophomore. Okay.
Like, because there's Sam Darnold, there's Dwayne Haskins, there's Johnny Manziel, Jameis Winston. I'm trying to think of some other ones that have come out. It's a bad track. It's just a bad record of drafting like a 20-year-old quarterback and expecting him to come and be good at 21 in the NFL. Like, Trey Lance is 22 years old, man. He's got all these grown men doing these crazy coverages around him. His head's spinning. He's only played like 1 year of college football, really?
In D2, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. His head's spinning right now. His head is probably still spinning. I don't care what he says.
Well, and it's weird because, like, people are like, well, yeah, but Carson Wentz is good. So that, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird when, like, it's North Dakota State.
Yeah.
People are like, yeah, but he's good. But yeah, Carson Wentz worked out. It's like, did he? I mean, I know he won the MVP or whatever, like, which is still crazy as hell. But, like, I know he did, but it's like, that's not a reason to just be swinging at every. And I love Trey Lance. Trey Lance and Justin Fields, sparkles in my eyes when I watched them. I loved them both. And I loved Mac Jones, too. I was all in on that quarterback class. Everyone except Zach Wilson, damn near. I liked them all. Like, but I was just like, man, if Shanahan, to trade up that much, the clock starts immediately when you draft him. Like, you trade up because you're like, this guy, I'm going to be able to just insert him in my offense, and then we're just going to hit overdrive. And you've already basically punted 1 year of his rookie deal, because that's all this is trying to get cheap at quarterback on these rookie deals. Mm-hmm. And you've already wasted 1 year of that. You're not even sure you wanted to do year 2 of that. That's scary.
It's
very scary. So yeah, alpha, but this is interesting, So anyways, let's move on.
All right, got the incumbent Sean McVay, Rams.
Did you skip Cliff Kingsbury? But
oh, I did. No, I'll get them next.
Yeah, you don't have to go in that order, but I was just wondering. I don't want you to skip Cliff Kingsbury.
No,
I
definitely.
know Marcus has some Kyler Murray takes, so that we have to get out.
Oh, for sure.
We'll get that next.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Sean McVay, alpha man. Sean McVay. He's definitely he's a dude, man. I think he's done really well with that Rams team, and he just keeps winning, man. And he's not. I don't know when he's gonna stop winning, to be honest. I mean, until he decides he wants to leave. I mean, he's got Stafford there. I think they're my favorites to win the NFC again. Because I think they're just still stacked. I think then you add Allen Robinson over there, man, who's still really good.
Bobby Wagner, just like, come on,
bro,
dude.
Like, how the hell you guys keep doing this shit? So he's got a well built machine. Players want to play there. They want to play for him. They love playing for him. He's a great leader. He's basically Gruden 2.0. And he's got the sound bites. He's got that crazy memory of plays. I still think his offense is not as he's not the greatest play caller as he tries to get
Right.
away with, and that's why he got rid of Jared Goff, and then that's
His
why
red
Matthew
zone
Stafford,
shit sucks, man. Like his red zone shit stinks
he's proven,
sometimes,
bro. And that's why he had to have Matthew Stafford throwing a no look pass for him to win a Super Bowl. So again,
True.
yeah, and that's why he wouldn't got him though, because he couldn't just play Madden with Jared Goff anymore, and it wasn't working. He had to get somebody that could. Matthew Stafford's he's an idiot when he comes to playing quarterback. I swear, he just decides that I'm throwing it 20 yards. I don't care what anybody says. So I don't care if there's two guys there. It could be four. It could be five. I'm throwing it 20 yards. So that type of mentality is something McVay never really had. And I'm sure it kind of rips his hair out a little bit. He's not going to admit that out loud, but he won a Super Bowl. He enjoys it. So
yeah, no. Alpha. I mean, Sean McVay. I mean, everybody loves being there. Superstars want to go there. Superstars also go there and play better. So it's not just a place they collect a check. Von Miller, you started hearing of him again.
Yeah,
and he was unblockable in the Super Bowl in the playoffs. Like he was like the trade was kind of like, damn. I was like, damn, Von's kind of washed, man. Like honestly, like I don't think that's I was telling my dad's a huge Rams fan. I was like, I don't know about that trade. My dad, like, he's one of those guys. Like he's like, oh wow, I guess we'll never have a draft pick again. I'm like, yeah, but it always works. Like for them, like Jalen Ramsey, Matthew Stafford, all these guys, it works for them, like to give up a bunch of picks to these guys. And for some teams it doesn't, as Marcus and I know, like for some teams it doesn't. Like they don't know what to do with that, when you receive those picks. So like, or trade for the superstar. It's happened both ways. Like you don't. McVay's just cool, man. Like he's cool, but he's also cringe, which you need to be cringe because you can't be too cool as an NFL head coach. You got to be a little cringe. You got to be like only be able to quote Step Brothers like as your favorite movie. Like you can't be like a film guy, you have to be a tape guy, not a film guy. And and these guys, he's kind of like that, He was just basically taking he was just hammered in Mexico and with Matthew Stafford at a pool party, and that's how they fucking bonded with each other.
Yeah.
And then he called his GM hammered and was like, "Please trade for him."
Like, and then whatever it takes. Yes, he got some journalists like fired out in Washington because he was like, being Mr. Playboy over there with the journalists.
Big time. Yeah, big time. No, he's a beast, dude. Like the guy is like cool, man. Like it's I'd love to, like, it's the type of guy you want to play for. It's like it's and yeah, I mean what's not to like. He's got the PacSun manager vibe. This is my mall division, Zoomies, Kyle Shanahan. Cliff Kingsbury Sunglass Hut. Sean McVay is PacSun, and Pete Carroll's Sharper Image, dude. Like you just get all you get like all these guys, like they all got mall stores vibes. And Sean McVay is the twirling lanyard, cargo short, gallon of water. Just he's that type of guy. Cut shirt that he did himself.
And we wasted our time watching him thinking he'd be at 104 maybe.
But yeah, Cliff Kingsbury time, right?
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury, Cardinals.
Hometown, Marcus, home team that he does not claim.
Does not claim.
You can't be Ricky Prohl fan when you're a kid, man. That's all I gotta say.
Ricky Prohl.
Cliff's a big beta, man. I don't know. I don't even know what the hell they're really doing over there. Do they even have a plan right now? I mean, they just like what are they doing? Like he runs the air raid. Like it really is not working. He puts Hopkins on the same side. And he's like, Hopkins, you're over there. I'm not going to move you around, even though you should be moved around because you're better doing things like that. But I'm just going to put you on the left. And then he babies Kyler Murray, which is my thing. I mean, their relationship is like a bait. Like you can't baby Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray he's the type of dude that he'll go play video games instead of watch tape because he's being babied. And he was like that at Oklahoma. And I just got one of my boys. He gives me all the Oklahoma sources, and he's talking about how Kyler Murray is like that at Oklahoma. Like they just show up and play, and you can't really do that in NFL. And Kyler Murray is he's so arrogant to me, bro. Like, bro, first of all, you're 5'10", and I need you to remember that.
And also, I'm looking on Snopes right now. Mostly false on the 5'10". That's not 5'10".
He's not. And then he fixed his voice, which is hilarious to me. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that.
Oh, totally.
You hear him talk on the field. He's like really hyped. He's like, come on, guys. And he's at his press conference, just like, hey, he's like, come on, guys, why you want to tackle me like that?
He's like how British like rock and roll singers have American accents when they sing, you know, like yeah, exactly, yeah.
He's like, come on.
Yeah. My favorite bit from Part of My Take about Kyler Murray is that like when he's playing bad, it's like Mario, where Mario gets smaller. Like when he's like almost dying, like he's like he looks even smaller when he's playing bad. It's like, nah, bro, that is 100% true. Like sometimes they're like, yeah, and he looked really small this week. Like,
man, I watched a couple Cardinals games last year, and every time I was like, who the fuck is this dude? I was just like I don't even know football like you guys
like
do.
a kid who just pulled your pants down. Like,
like
he's like, oh, see you later. Like, that's
basically how he runs.
He looks scared, dude. Like literally, like before calling a play, he looks scared, dude. You know, it's just like,
oh, dude, in that Rams playoff game, look, that's a great defense, but he's already seen him twice, dude. Like, it's not like, oh, whoa, we weren't prepared for this. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, like, like you weren't prepared. And a lot of that's Cliff, man. A lot of that's Cliff.
No.
This team is like, even with Kyler, this team is like prime for like another coach to come in and just like be good, because their roster's good. They have good players. There's good players on there, athletes, like guys that can move. They're fast, they're physical, like they hit hard. Their defense at times last year looked scary good, especially when Watt was out there. Like it's not a bad team. Like it's not a bad team, and they weren't even like terrible last year, but they started out so good and just fell off a cliff. People just love quarterbacks that just run aimlessly. Like,
that's what it is.
People love off schedule because they think off schedule's hard and on schedule's easy.
Yeah.
Like when you're operating an offense, like they think that they're like, because it's Madden, right? The highlighted route. I threw to the highlighted route in Madden. Must be so hard in the NFL. Like, you know, it's just like, no, it's not. It's not. And I'm tired. I'm tired of Kyler Murray. I'm tired of Cliff Kingsbury. I'm tired of the Cardinals. Like, you just can't even take the Cardinals seriously until they're gone. Honestly.
Yeah, and he's always overhyped, man. You know, people still say he's a top 10 quarterback. I'm like, what are you guys watching? Are you guys watching the same thing that I watch? Because it just bothers the hell out of me that they try to say that. I mean, they were saying that before he even did really anything. You know, it's just because who he is, right? He's really fast. He can move around. Oh, he's so cool to watch. You're excited. You know, and people. That's what I don't like about a lot of analytics, which kind of leads to the next guy, because I think he's in a war with the analytic community. I think he's in a 100%. Personal war. He's in a personal war. Is that they don't really account? They don't account for winning. They are trying to make the game more entertaining, and that's what analytics tries to do. Because I remember that some guy who works for 538. I forgot he wears. I don't know. He has the Bacon Bad suit. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but I know
Briscoe
how
Statues and whatever his name is.
Okay,
and he was on something talking about how they should go for fourth down more because it's more entertaining to watch, and nobody wants to watch a punt. And I'm thinking like, bro, that's not football. We're not here to get a casual kid to watch it more. You know, that like race. I don't know. It's just stupid. Like
just stick with the Nickelodeon game. All right, just do that. We're trying to watch ball. Okay. Kyler Murray should only play on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Cliff Kingsbury just like eyes exploding on the TV like a Nickelodeon animation. But yeah, anyways, last guy, oldest coach in the league. Here we go.
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll, he's alpha. He's one of my favorite coaches. He's one of my favorite coaches in the league.
I love him so much.
I think he's doing something very bold right now. And that's what I was talking about. I think he has a personal agenda. I think he reads tweets. Pete Carroll, he's a live guy. You know,
he's online.
He's online. He's got a troll account. But let's
bringing Jordan Peterson
he literally hired Jordan Peterson to speak to his team. With Marshawn Lynch on the team.
I know Marshawn Lynch.
And I guarantee you there were at least three talking points. Marshawn Lynch started listening. Like, okay, yeah, no, go on.
Dude, I wish I could be a fly in the wall, dude. With that.
Yeah, there were at least like three where he was like, no, okay, right on. Let's hear him out. You know, like there were a couple. Like there were just a couple. Like imagine Pete Carroll just being like, I got to get this guy to talk to my guys, like on his YouTube algorithm, just straight up JPB. Like,
Right, that's what I was thinking when he brought for his speech. Like, Jordan Peterson? How'd you get into Jordan Peterson, Pete?
Easily. He's got like a Daily Wire kind of like algorithm page kind of thing. I can totally see it. But yeah, I love him. I love him. He likes to run the football, and guess what? They run the football well, and they got wide receiver. This whole thing that Russ had no help last year, no, false. He had 2 really good wide receivers, a tight end that he'll never use. That's the funny thing. I drafted Albert O in a fantasy league I'm in, and I realized, like, oh fuck, Russell Wilson's the quarterback. He's will never throw to him. Doesn't throw to tight end because where's the tight end? Middle of the field. Oh shit.
Yep.
Imagine that. I don't know, man. They don't have a quarterback. They don't. Geno Smith. I'm not doing the Geno Smith thing, even though he is fun sometimes when he's a backup. But like I've seen starter Geno Smith. It's terrible. Like it's not. He's not good.
Drew Lock could be in there. They'll be calling for Drew Lock's name.
Like, why not? And he's worse. I think Geno Smith's actually better. That's the thing. Like they're both really bad. I'm kind of glad. I kind of still think they should have done the Baker Mayfield thing. I'm kind of mad that didn't happen because that would have been fun, man. Baker in Seattle would have been sick. Like I think he would have like really taken over that town too. Like I think they would have had a couple big, like a win over the Niners as they always do. Like, and it would have went kind of crazy. He's at war against analytics. Let Russ cook is a whole thing where it's like, okay, but he was really successful with Russ. It's not Russ doesn't coach the team. Like it's Pete Carroll's a coach. I hated him at USC. I hated him, but he was great. I mean, he was so good. Everywhere, like you hear about this guy, like people love playing for him, and they have an identity of a guy that they draft, which gets them in trouble sometimes because they draft guys that aren't that good sometimes. But like they have an identity of like a type of guy, and it's always like just fucking this like run through a brick wall, like Jordan Peterson style NFL player, just slay the chaos dragon, man. Like that's how they play football up there. And I want them to be good. I always had a soft spot for them. I always liked the Seahawks. Like I always thought they were cool. Sean Alexander years, like always fun. Hasselbeck. I always thought they were good and they didn't get enough love around the league, but now they definitely are that. And Pete Carroll Alpha, definitely pulling for him this year.
Yeah, I think I just like his battle against analytics. That's not what he's doing. I mean, he's trying to show that he could I'm going to run the ball. I'm going to play defense. And we're gonna have a quarterback that protects the football, and we're gonna win games. And I really hope it happens because
there's some guys on that defense that people don't know about, like Alton Robinson. Like some of these guys, like they're good. Sidney Jones has been playing quietly good football. Like there's some guys. I'm like, hey, let's go. Jamal Adams is still good. He's still good if you use him the right way. Like there's guys that are good. I'm like, hey, they're gonna be like. They have their over under. Like people think they're gonna win like 3 games. I'm telling you, they're gonna win like 6. Like they're gonna win like 6 games. Yeah, they're gonna win 6. It's not gonna be good, but they're gonna win they're gonna be like a Falcons style team this year, like where it's of last year, where you're like, nah, they're well coached, man. They're well coached. So
yeah, I don't get the hate he gets, man. He revolutionized NFL defenses. Like they had to change the rules to stop the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks teams couldn't score in them. And this is during the era of like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were coming in. Here come the Seahawks. We're like, nope, we're just gonna punch you guys in the mouth, and you guys are gonna score on us. And then the NFL had to change the rules again. Yeah. So
and I respect the Adderall thing too, doing the Adderall, like just floating that by, just be like, hey, is it cool if we just all do Adderall and study film? And the NFL's like, no, you shouldn't do that. Like we'll test you. And he's like, all right, we got away with it for a few years. They were calling them Seattle Seahawks. Like they were, that was sick, man. Like Richard Sherman, Stanford guys, like doing Adderall. Like that's what that defense looked like. It was cool. Like it was. Yeah. It was Earl Thomas, like all these like really cerebral, smart players, and Bobby Wagner, and they were all just limitless, dude. Like straight up Bradley Cooper, limitless. I missed that era. Missed the Legion of Boom. Hated the Niners. Loved that battle. So good. So that about does it. Marcus, thank you. I mean, we did it in 2 parts, which ended up being good because we went kind of long today. So appreciate it, man. See you next year, I guess. Eventually you're going to be interviewing, Josh McDaniels. You're gonna eventually get some TV job, and we'll gladly erase these for you. So that way you can be on TV. But I'll constantly have to.
So you're black like Jordan Peterson?
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming.
I sensed a microaggression when he was laughing at the Jordan Peterson bit. I don't know. Yeah, I sensed he didn't tell the joke per se, but
exactly.
He might have alluded to certain health conspiracies, so Yeah. Anyways, man, appreciate it, guys. Everybody, go subscribe to Tape Don't Lie. If you're a big football fan, if you just listen to Little Pocket Awareness and read his work on SB Nation, especially all of you Raider Nation, Rare Candy listeners. Football season's coming up right now, and these will be out right through the week of the season. So appreciate you again, man, Marcus. See you guys.